It's back since the beginning of time in music, poetry, theater, Shakespeare. Do you like them or do you love them? It's time for the 2026 NFL Draft, and in this episode of Defending the Kingdom, we'll talk about liking them and when you can love them. It's all brought to you by Ticketmaster, your new best friend. There is so many great things going on in the Chiefs Kingdom that you can use Ticketmaster for, including the 2026 season when the schedule comes out.
Mahomes in the pocket will step up. He'll scramble 10, 5, Mahomes, diving touchdown, Kansas City.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, along with senior team reporter Matt McMullen. We've changed our location today. We're at the press conference room, the presser room in the University of Kansas Health System practice facility. So this is where they make the sausage, right in here. This is where the wood burns.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I think the last time we did an episode in this room was the first episode after losing the title game to the Bengals in 21. So we had some good luck after doing an episode in here, won 2 straight Super Bowls and went to 3 in a row. Pretty good. Let's do that again.
Positive way of looking at it, because I think that's why I blocked it out of my mind.
Yep.
Yeah, I could still see some IJP run on the 41-yard screen pass. So,
yeah.
Or not making it before the end of the half and getting up 2 scores, perhaps. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What is here? Like them, love them. We'll get into all that here as Matt and I look at the 2026 NFL Draft. But before we do that, it's a tradition. Let's go around the world.
I got 2 for you today.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think
Tyquan Thornton?
We've consistently had 2 for several weeks
This
in a row
means
now.
an 1,100-yard season for Tyquan Thornton and about 8 touchdowns.
Sign me up. Shout out to Mason. So I was at the grocery store last week and met Mason in the parking lot.
Great.
We were putting some groceries away, and Mason came up and said hi. So shout out to you, Mason. Thanks for saying hi.
He wasn't stalking you?
No, it always helps because I think Ellie just thinks I don't actually have a job, But when people see me in the parking lot, she's like, oh, they actually, pay attention to the stuff that you do. I appreciate you, Mason.
No,
Thank you.
she
Got me some
realizes-
street cred with my wife.
No, your wife's awesome, but she also realizes you're kind of a big deal.
No, I think it's the opposite, actually.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Duran. So I've met him a few times up at training camp over the years. Kind of a small world. So Duran's wife is good friends with my wife's best friend. You know Sierra from South Dakota, went
Dallas,
to college
South
with Ellie.
Dakota.
Yeah, so when Sierra lived here, she got to know Duran's wife. And then when I met Duran at training camp, he said, explain this whole connection. Anyway, long story short.
Not Duran Cherry.
Not Duran Cherry, but I bet he was named for him, honestly.
I bet so.
He's a huge Chiefs fan. Anyway, I saw Duran at the Royals game a few weeks ago. And what I love about Duran is we're at the Royals game and he's decked out in Chiefs gear. So
Love it.
Shout out to you, Duran. Good seeing you again.
And both of these around the world actually go back to your wife, Ellie, in some way. There's a connection.
Ellie's the connection, yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ellie.
Big shout out to her. She's amazing, actually, and what she does for our community, especially with the incredible Kansas City Zoo. We kid about Ellie, but she's big time.
Go to the zoo. Go to the aquarium.
It's, yeah. Okay. You and I we've had a little more time to work on the draft this year.
Yeah.
Not getting deep into the playoffs, so that meant our off season began earlier than usual. It's been an interesting draft. You and I have done the deep dive. We've swam a couple laps in the pool, got out and dove back in again. We're on this episode, though, and here's the Surgeon General's warning. We're going to give you some names that Matt and I like. Not necessarily there's some household names here that you've heard over and over and over if you're not even just a draft freak. But the caution here is, because you've been in the league long enough, and it's only my 33rd year, you like these players, but you don't fall in love with them. Because think of the percentages that they would become a Kansas City Chief. We like these guys, but we'll really love them when they become a Chief, if they become a Chief.
So setting the stage for this whole episode and the draft coming up, can I hit you with a number that I found pretty impressive? So this is via Josh Dunbo with the AP. So the 2022 draft class for the Chiefs played 24,141 total snaps in the regular season and the playoffs during their 4-year stretch here. Most by any team's draft class in their first 4 seasons since at least 2006, and more than 1,000 snaps ahead of the next closest team. I bet it's one of they're the highest numbers in league history. They just don't have the data going far back enough. But think about that. I mean, we talk about it all the time, how transformative the 2022 class was. We need that again right now. And I mentioned how the last time we shot this episode was after that brutal loss to the Bengals, but we turned things around. Well, one of the primary reasons we turned things around was the 2022 draft class. Well, we have a chance to do that again. We got to hit on these picks, though. I mean, having 9 picks, we have, let me see here, 4 picks in the top 100. Yep. I mean, a big opportunity for the Chiefs, and fortunately, a lot of players that we like a lot. But yeah, don't love them yet, but hopefully we love some of these guys pretty soon.
In fact, here is your code for your next, if you've got like a lock that you can just set it up. So right 9, left 29, right 40, left 74, right 109, left 148, right 169, left 210. Oh, slip 165 in there, a compensation pick in the 5th round. But to your point, and we mentioned this, to have 4 picks in the top 75 is crazy.
Yeah.
And then you look at, if you stay where you're, and you know that Veach is going to be trading, he just is, you still got 5 more picks, all before the start of the 7th round. So, yeah, you look at great drafts. The 1963 draft, if you want to go back into the ancient of days, actually set up the run that led to the Super Bowl IV title. And the incredible class of 2022, you and I have talked about them over and over and over again, and I love those stats because they just verify what we've said. In many ways, from a completeness, maybe the best draft class in Chiefs history, and I think that can be defended. But now you got to try to replicate it. Because those guys have all kind of splintered, and most of them, other than George Karlaftis, and I think Nazi's still here, but everybody's kind of moving all around. But the point is, if you can try to replicate or get close with these 9 picks, if you stay put, you can set yourself up for another run.
And really, I think a theme in the 2022 class was the best player available mantra. So think about how that all played out. We've talked about it before. Trading up for Trent McDuffie was interesting because going into the draft, were you thinking we got to get a corner in the 1st round? Like that's an obvious thing we got to do? I don't think so. I think it was a matter of a really good player falling, and the Chiefs found a spot for him. Similar deal if you look at later in the draft. They take Joshua Williams in the 4th round. Well, even though they took 2 corners earlier, didn't stop them from taking Jalen Watson in the 7th round. He was the top player on their board. Leo Chanel in the 3rd round. I don't think linebacker was a crazy need for the Chiefs at that point, but they said, hey, this is our top player on the board. We're going to take this guy, find a role for him. And think about all those players I mentioned. They all found a way to impact this team and help this team win Super Bowls, even if it wasn't like an obvious, hey, we're drafting for need right now. So the Chiefs do a good job of that, about really taking the best player available, did an amazing job of it in 2022. And I think the way that we've used free agency this offseason is we've put ourselves in a position to truly go after the best players available. And it's funny, I mean, you look at mock drafts, you look at projections, and the experts are trying to marry the need with the best player available. Not always the case. I mean, we might end up with some players that we don't even talk about today, but 4 years from now, hopefully we're looking back and saying that guy helped us win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, the remarkable stat of the 22 class is the fact that those guys are 9-1 in the playoffs. They lost 1 playoff game.
And it was the Super Bowl.
Oh, my gosh. And so,
wow.
Incredible group. We'll see them at reunions, hug them, shed some tears and laughter, and wish them the best. But here we are in the present, and we push on. And let's go in. We're going to look at 6 different categories. We can't sit here and do a 5-hour draft show, though.
We could.
We could, and it'd be fun. But we're going to look at 6 different categories of players and just pick the guy that maybe intrigues us a lot. Not the most, and some of these will be household names that you followed. Some will not. But I think there's interest in each one of these and have their own individual stories. So I'll start. We're going to look at safety. But I'm going to start with Caleb Downs. And people are going, oh, no-brainer, like, nice, way to go, Captain Obvious. But here's what's not so obvious. I think all of the Ohio State guys are miscast of the main guys, other than Carnell Tate. He's a wide receiver. But when you look at Downs, and we mentioned this a little bit ago, I think, or a couple episodes ago, he's listed as a safety. To me, when I review the video, which is very, very impressive, he's a slot corner. He can play safety, but he's a slot corner. And the fact that when he led Alabama, remember he started at Alabama before he went to Ohio State, Caleb Downs. He led Alabama in tackles. That was the first freshman to lead Alabama in tackles ever. So that's the player Caleb Downs is. And you look at 257 career tackles. He would fit he would be an incredible scheme fit, and he would be also an incredible replacement for Trent McDuffie, because I get the sense wherever he lands, Caleb Downs, he will be a phenomenal slot corner.
To me, so first of all, Caleb Downs is my favorite player in this draft. I think he's awesome. I think he's the kind of player that could come in on day one and be a piece of your defense like right away because of his versatility. He can play the slot, which if you look at modern NFL offenses, some of the best receivers on the opposing team are playing out of the slot now. And some of the best defenses in the league, they have that jack-of-all-trades kind of safety that can go in there and do a little bit of everything. Cover the slot, blitz off the edge, play deep if need be that extra linebacker if they need to be, play the run, all that stuff. Caleb Downs can do all of those things, and, man, if we got him at number 9, I think that'd be a total steal. I'll give you one more, though, at safety. Not sure if this is a late first-rounder, early second-rounder, probably trending more to being a late first-rounder, but it's Emmanuel McNeil-Warren from Toledo. Interesting player for a lot of reasons. So he's kind of like a long, lanky player with a lot of ball skills. So 5 career picks, including 2 interceptions last year, 9 career forced fumbles. So he has mastered the Peanut Tillman punch out, and it's a thing of beauty to watch. And we could use that on our defense, I think. We've talked about this for a couple years now, needing to find ways to get more sudden change defensive plays, explosive defensive plays, and get some more takeaways. And that's Emmanuel McNeil-Warren's bread and butter. He was called for just 1 penalty in college on nearly 2,000 defensive snaps. So kind of impressive to think about like that aggressive nature, to be going for the ball and to have those interceptions, but also to not be penalized. So I think that's kind of interesting where he's not an over-aggressive player. He's an aggressive player within the rules of the defense, and that's a good thing. Also, he never transferred from Toledo, and I know that you'd love that. Guys like this don't come along very often where they're a star at a school like Toledo, and they stay at Toledo because they believe in the coaching staff there. They believe that's the best environment for them to grow. I think it's really cool that he was probably offered a bunch of money to go somewhere else, and he said, I'm good. I'm going to stay here at Toledo, where they gave me a chance initially. So he's probably a guy that you could take at like 29, maybe 40 if he fell, but he'd be a fun piece to add to the secondary.
He's another guy that I feel could be a day one impact guy, even if in a sub position. But he's so long.
Yeah.
Then that's where those punch outs come from and deflections. But, and again, coming from Toledo, people would say, well, he played in the MAC. Well, Quinion Mitchell played in the MAC. Okay, he was one of my favorite guys in that whole draft.
You
remember
him.
that? I liked him.
You were right about it. Yeah,
but
you're right.
I couldn't love him because then he beats us in a Super Bowl. So that's my whole point. You can like these guys, just don't love them until you're their own. But yes, I did love him, but I thought I've learned enough. But the fact that so many guys now get up, they get bought up, basically. I look at the combine. We talked about only 5 FCS guys there. I don't think any Division 2 or 3 guys. But when guys stay where they're at, to me, it is a great sign. That is a green flag. And the fact that he stayed there at Toledo, I like him very much. I think that's a great spot.
Yeah. Should we jump to edge?
Let's go to edge.
Okay. I'll give you one. This is another guy that probably could fit around like the 29 area, maybe 40, but probably 29. It's TJ Parker from Clemson. To me, he kind of hits all the benchmarks for what Spags looks for in an edge rusher. So he's 6'4", 263 pounds with 33-inch arms. He's a playmaker. This is crazy. A third of his career tackles were in the backfield. Think about that. Consistently just making plays, tackles for loss. He had more tackles for loss, actually, at 41.5 than games played in college with just 39. So consistently making plays. Great motor, always going 100 miles an hour, even after the initial rush. He has some great tape where the running back will get upfield or it's a screen. He turns around and tracks that player down. It doesn't happen a lot. A lot of times you watch edge rushers who are there to get a sack and a sack only. If their rush initially fails, they've taken the play off. That's not TJ Parker. Now, he was amazing in 2024, like crazy numbers. He had 19.5 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, and 6 forced fumbles in 2024. Production wasn't as high last year, dipped a little bit, but the foundation is obviously there. The potential is there. And he was durable, played in 39 straight games to wrap up his career. So TJ Parker, to me, if he was there at 29, would be a home run.
Let me give you another one who could be at 40. Don't know if it's about 74, but he might. And I'm going to go, Ellie makes your heart beat fast.
Yeah.
Another guy that made your
For good
heart
reasons
beat.
and bad sometimes.
Yeah.
I've forgotten something.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode. But I'm right here going for your heart because Zion Young of Mizzou.
Oh, yeah.
All right. originally was at Michigan State. Wasn't putting up huge numbers there, but enough at Michigan State. But give me your on Parker. Give me his height, weight, and
So he's 6'4", 263 pounds with 33-inch arms.
Here's Zion Young, 6'6", 262 pounds, and 33-inch arms.
The length is crazy.
So the point is here, you and I are thinking like Spags. These are two Spags guys.
Yeah.
Does that feel that way to you?
Well, there's a lot of not Spags guys in this draft.
Oh, yeah.
That maybe they could end up here, but in terms of what Spags looks for, yeah, these are Spags players for sure.
And Zion has been called a poor man's Trey Hendrickson. I will take a poor man's Trey Hendrickson. You know that I love Trey Hendrickson. Like Trey Hendrickson, I don't love him. He doesn't wear red and gold.
We have to be careful with this.
And he's crushed us a couple times. But when you look at what he did at Mizzou, same thing. And watching his tape, I love him. You watch him because you're a Mizzou fan.
Yep.
But he's the same. You just described the description of these two players are very similar because he will fire out. He will rush. The play's not his side, but he will scream out to the outside, whether it's a bubble screen, tunnel screen, outside zone. He's not, I'm blocked. I'm going to give up on this play. His motor to me and his pursuit is excellent. So you and I both have high hopes for Ashton Gelati.
Yeah.
Same kind of player. But I think these two guys, and that's why I kind of love Zion Young here. Like Zion Young here, not love him unless he is a Chief, but kind of the same guy.
Well, and with Parker and to an even more extent with Young because of his length, you can bounce that kind of player inside. They get their hands up, and you're knocking a pass down at the line of scrimmage. You've talked about this before. That's as good as a sack in my mind. That wipes out a play. And also, I think about how Charles Omenihu, when he was playing his best football, how he fit in this defense. Zion Young, to me, is that kind of player, I think.
And many times better than a sack because a 35-yard pass gets wiped out.
Yeah.
You watch it on video and go, he's wide open for 35 yards, and the ball never makes it past the line of scrimmage. All right, so safety and edge. And edge gets a lot of discussion. But let's go wide receiver, which also gets a lot of discussion. And I'm not sure this is a 9. I'm not sure it's a 29. It might be, but he's climbing up the charts. And when you and I get really kind of excited about someone, we'll text you. Right?
Yeah. No matter what time of day or night.
It could be 4 in the morning. And we also put Austin Woodard on that because he's our draft maniac. But when I watched Ted Hurst video at Georgia State, you won a national title at Georgia State.
I did.
Before you went to New Mexico State.
Yep.
In college football video game. But really like his game.
You can bend the rules for this one.
I'm close.
Yeah.
This is a Mike Evans clone to me in many ways. He is a red zone animal. When you look at what he has done, ball tracker, and when you look at the 2 years at Georgia State, just south of 2,000 yards and 15 touchdowns. And he is a guy that will run routes, but he's also got enough length where he gives you the numbers to boundary stretch the field.
Yeah.
So right now in the NFL, we've talked about this ad nauseum. You just watch games, and the playoffs to me really accentuated this. 2 deep safeties. The Puka Nakuas of the world are winning games because they're getting catches at 8 yards, making them 18, giving you all this middle of the field. The shots that are taken now in the NFL, at least in recent years or last year and a half, are numbers to boundary. No help on the outside. Your 2 safeties over the top may be occupied. It's a one-on-one play. And even if you don't complete it, a DPI is in there someplace.
Sure.
So that's where the shots are going. And so for maybe a Tyquan Thornton, but I'm talking numbers to boundary and the strength to make those plays. To me, Ted Hurst is that guy. And he's not listed with the other receivers, with the Tates and the Tysons and the Mekhi Lemons and Boston, the kid from Washington. But he's not far behind, and I really like his video.
It's fun to look back at past drafts, and you wonder how did certain players go as low as they did. He might be one of those guys that we look back on and say, he went in the 3rd round or whatever, 4th round. Like, what? How did that happen? I'm with you. I will give you a player, though, that's being talked about as a potential 9 overall guy, and that's Carnell Tate. Yeah. So I think Tate is really fascinating because he doesn't have blazing speed. He runs a 4.53, but he might be the top vertical threat in this year's class. Well, why is that? Well, because he's really good at a lot of stuff that makes you a great vertical receiver. So he can put his foot in the ground and create separation because of his athleticism, like better than a lot of players in this class, better than players that might have better speed than he does, just because of how he can use his footwork. Also, he is so good, even if there's a guy draped over him, about going up and getting the football. So he caught 12 of 14 contested targets last season. 9 catches of 40 or more yards last year, second most in the FBS. He averaged 32 yards per touchdown reception, and he had 9 of those, by the way. And my favorite note on Carnell Tate, 0 drops on 66 targets last year. So, yeah, you look at the 40 time and you say, well, I don't know, is that a number 9 overall receiver? I say yes when you look at his video, when you look at what he's able to do, and how he's truly a complete player who can be a true vertical threat, I think. Go up and get the football. Mahomes can throw it up there. He's going to count on this guy to come down with it. And he can do so many different things, I think, in the intermediate passing game as well. So don't worry about the 40 time. I think this is a player that's really good at a lot of things that kind of make up for that.
I really like it. Okay. I mentioned Puka Nacua. His 40 time, 4.55.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
JSN.
JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Incredible year, right? His 40 time, 4.55. Okay, what Tate does that I like, remember when we talked on an episode during the season about the tight window throw, meaning, or the tight window catch. We talk about the tight window throw with quarterbacks all the time. Pat can make it, right? He's got just a sliver of a gap, he can do it. But the tight window catch, the Chiefs, we didn't make it last year. And those are the plays you have to make against these prolific two-deep zones. And you take shots, numbers to boundary, but you're going to have to make tight window catches, and Tate has done that. And so your contested analysis of a contested catch would be perfect in fitting a Kansas City Chiefs uniform.
It's something that Tyquan Thornton, I think, did well last year, deep down the field, making contested catches. It's also something that I don't think Tyreek ever got enough credit for, because Tyreek obviously is the fastest player in the NFL, or was during his time with the Chiefs, but he could go up and get the football deep down the field. Like, Carnell Tate can do that. So I think he'd be a home run if the Chiefs were able to land him. He would just add a different dynamic, I think, to the offense. Are we jumping to corner now?
We go to corner, and you're going to go first on this one.
All right, I'll give you a guy that really has kind of grown on me over time, and I'm kind of fired up about. It's Jermod McCoy from Tennessee. So he was one of the top corners in the nation back in 2024, his first season at Tennessee. He was awesome, and I think tracking to be the top corner taken in this year's draft, if not right there with Mansour Delane, who I think is kind of the consensus number 1 guy. But McCoy was right there with him. The issue is, in January of that season, he tore his ACL and wiped out his entire season this year, so couldn't play at all. Hasn't played football since 2024. The tape is really good, though, and if people were concerned about his rehab, how things were going, well, he ran a 4.40 at his pro day, so he seems like he's doing all right. I think he has the ability to be like a complete corner. He can play press man. He can play zone. He can do just about anything. Played high-level football. I think it's funny, his first career interception when he was at Oregon State was against Fernando Mendoza. He's likely going to be a Raider. That would be a good fit. And also, he went to White House High School, and Patrick Mahomes knows him. And there's this awesome picture, I think it was maybe 2018 or 17, very early in Mahomes' career. He went back to White House, and there's a picture of him with young Jermod McCoy, and how funny would that be if they ended up on the same team? So he's the kind of player that I think could really elevate the secondary. We'll see if he's available later in the draft. Like at number 9, I don't know if he's that kind of guy right now. Maybe he is if the Chiefs really fall in love with him. But that could be the kind of candidate that if the Chiefs want to trade back or trade into the middle of the first round, he can make a lot of sense.
Yeah, so keep your theory on the sandwich, because to me, he's exhibit A of why you would eat a sandwich. Just hang on to that for a second.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm going to take Mansour Delane here because you'd mentioned him.
Yeah.
Love his tape. He's another one that when we watched it, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, love this guy. Now, McCoy and Delane both are Spags guys. Delane, to me, is a computer-generated Spags guy.
Yes.
At Virginia Tech, he wasn't bad, but he really flourished in his year at LSU. A prototype man press defender. Think about the guys in the class of 22. We talked about Jalen Watson. Jalen Watson was able to thrive here as a 7th-round pick because he fit the way the Chiefs do business. And so does Mansour Delane. Now, why would you take a corner at the 9th pick? Would you take a corner at the 9th pick? Because people were like, oh, I don't know about it. Pat Surtain was taken as the 9th pick with the Denver Broncos. If you look at Delane, 6'2", 202, fits the Spags corner, right? It's a big dude. But he'll flip his hips like no other. And he also tracks the ball. He is also a tackler. Keep in mind, our top tacklers, top 5, if you look since 22, the corners are in there somewhere. They're always some of our top tacklers. Why? We're great at bubble screen defense. They don't miss tackles. If you're not a willing tackler, then don't come be a Kansas City Chief cornerback. But Delane, 45 tackles at LSU, 54 as a junior at Virginia Tech, 54 as a sophomore at Virginia Tech. So that's 153 tackles in 3 years from a corner. That is music to the ears of Dave Merritt and defensive coordinator and Coach Spagnuolo, and Steve Spagnuolo. All right. Still, ball skills, 8 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, 27 passes broken up. Smart, tough, tall, tackler, man defender. I really like Mansour Delane, and I would really like taking him at 9, and if we get him at 9, then I'll love him.
So I just saw Spags in the hallway. Did you see him?
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah, we should have just had him on the episode and been like, what do you think of these guys? If I say,
would you take McCoy?
If I say Jermod McCoy or Mansour Delane, what do you say? You know, I'm curious. Yeah, I'd be thrilled with either of those guys. Getting a player of that caliber at corner, we've talked about the need to enhance the pass rush. Well, adding a player like that helps the pass rush because you're adding potentially an all-pro level corner to your defense. So I'm with you. Offensive tackle next? Is that what we're doing? Or where do you want to go?
We are, but let's talk about your sandwich theory
Go
here
ahead.
while we're on the topic. And the fact that this is where a Jermod McCoy would be a great example of this. So your theory, and I agree with it, potentially, is what?
So I think it would work out great if the Chiefs traded down from number 9 to I haven't looked at a team in mind, but 15 or 16 or 17.
What about Dallas at 12?
See,
That's a theory.
that'd be great. And then you trade up from 29 later to 21, 22, something like that. You get some more picks, and you still end up with 2 picks in the middle of the first round. And I think a player like McCoy is the perfect player to take at 12 overall or in the middle of the first round. So that's my theory. If it happens, who knows? I'm not saying it's going to happen or I've heard that's going to happen. I'm just saying that would be a fun result, and you could get some more picks as well.
And let's just say, and even at 29, everybody don't freak out if you don't get an edge or a wide receiver at 9, because in this draft, there's going to be a potential starter at wide receiver or edge at 29.
Yeah.
And maybe even at 40, because that's my goal. We'll get to the end first here. Eat the dessert while we're having the veggies, is the fact that I want 3 starters. I'm not greedy, but at 9, 29, and 40, you're going, Mitch, what do you want? 3 starters, day 1 starters, day 1, snap 1 impact players. And you can get that with those 3 picks in this draft at the variety of needs the Chiefs have.
I think that has to be the expectation. And if you look back at 2022, that's what we got. So we got a starting corner. We got a starting edge rusher, George Karlaftis. Leo was kind of a starter. He was like that Sam linebacker, but was in there quite a bit. Brian Cook was the 3rd safety, essentially, but we just had depth there. But he could have started if need be. But Isaiah Pacheco was the starting running back for this team halfway through the next season.
Jalen Watson in the second week of his NFL career had a 99-yard pick six.
Yes, Jalen Watson was essentially a starter the whole season. So even if you don't find him in the top 3, we need to find starters in this draft. But I'm with you. Those top 3 picks need to be starters, I think.
We're going to offensive tackle. This is mine to start. And now I'm going to go down because we've said this before. This is a right tackle festival. There's 8 or 9 guys in a popcorn popper to me, but I got 2 guys that aren't necessarily listed as near the top in the draft, and I'm going to go with 2 here, but I'll start with Blake Miller of Clemson.
Yeah.
Because here's what I want. Here's my definition of what I want at right tackle in the 2026 draft. Get me a Mitchell Schwartz clone. Give me Mitchell Schwartz of the 2026 draft class. Why Blake Miller from Clemson's in there? 54 starts, 4,000 snaps. 4,000.
Crazy.
All right. As a freshman, he started at right tackle as a true freshman at Clemson. The first time that had happened since 1944. And he did not stop. He just kept rolling. Now, I'm going to give you another one, kind of close, because these 2 to me are very similar, and it's Caleb Tiernan of Northwestern. 6'7", tall, kind of string bean type. Needs to kind of grow into his body. But think Mitchell Schwartz here, because Mitchell had those 7,894 direct consecutive snaps. And I remember coming off the field at Tennessee, and I'm choking tears because I kept giving his snap count. But Caleb Tiernan, Northwestern, 846 snaps, gave up 1 sack. 1. And the fact that he was just durable with them, 43 starts for Northwestern at tackle. And they played a lot of left tackle, but he can go to the right side. But those two guys, to me, are plug and play. Let them rip. They have shown they're durable and tough and smart. Mitchell, Schwartz. And then, and keep in mind now, I'm just – because you got to find the swing here. And so you keep the swing action going there, but I would take these two guys and look at them as a starting right tackle in week 1.
And playing tackle in the Big Ten is no joke, especially now. You're playing Oregon and Washington and USC in addition to Ohio State and Michigan and all these Indiana. Like, it's nuts. On the Blake Miller note, I like him a lot too.
And
High school wrestler, which you love.
I love it. But the fact that, and with Jalen Moore, I think he'd be like the best swing guy. Look what he did. So this isn't a knock on him. This is to put him in the best spot possible for the Chiefs to win football games. All right.
Yeah, well, and we need depth, right? Yeah. I think last year showed us we need depth on the interior of our team. So the offensive and defensive lines, we need it badly because last year it was tested on both sides significantly. So
you're right. I want wrestlers on the offensive line.
Yeah, Blake Miller was a high school wrestler, which I knew Mitch would love immediately. How wasn't Clemson better? Clemson has so many players who are like first and second round talents between like Miller, Antonio Williams is a good player, Peter Woods, TJ Parker, obviously. I mean, they have so many good players. I don't know how they weren't better. I'll give you a player who's a little bit different than the guys that you talked about because he's more of like a raw player and like a ball of clay. It's Maxie Hanashore from Arizona State. Yep. Kind of reminds me a lot of what we have in like Esapole, even Chu Godric, where it's a very young player who is new to football. So that's the case with the Hanashore. Only started playing football in 2021, 2 years of JUCO ball before transferring to Arizona State in 2023. Clearly a quick learner. So he's from Nigeria originally and played basketball and soccer growing up. Again, reminds me of Chu. That athleticism is on full display. You can see that in how he moves. 31 starts at right tackle during his time with the Sun Devils. Durable, so finished his career with 28 straight starts. Again, still very raw at the position, like brand new to it in a sense, but has some experience for a young player and a raw player, and obviously showed some really good things. I think the foundation is there for him to be a really good young player. I don't know if he comes in day one and wins the starting job, but I think if you're trying to build some depth and trying to build a player up who is ascending, who maybe could be your right tackle for years to come once he kind of gets his legs under him, Hanashore could be that guy. Yeah,
all the tackles listed, and we know when you go down the line and Fano and go down the line, this one might have Hanachori might have the highest ceiling of any of them. This is a guy that maybe in 3 years looks like a Pro Bowl guy.
Yeah.
And keep in mind now they went to the Big 12 championship game, and he blocked for Cam Scatterbo. So he's been around some really good football and some good dudes, and was with Tyson at Arizona State. So I think that's a good pick. That may be more of a projection one, but that's what you do when you get down to maybe 40 or 70.
That's the thing. He's not a player you take at number 9 or maybe even 29. But if we were able to get him at like 40 or beyond that, like you're getting a player with a great foundation, I think, and a lot of potential.
Okay, we got one more position group. And again, this episode is we really like these guys. You can't love them until you pick them, and they're wearing red and gold and white. All right, so the final category is inside defensive tackle, inside technique.
Am I going first?
You're going first.
Okay. I'm going to give you a player who is a local guy because we love the local guys. Dominique Orange, the Big Citrus.
The Big Citrus.
So he went to North Kansas City High School, which is fun. But it's not just because he's local. I think he could help our team. So he's 6'2", 322 pounds with long arms. Crazy strength. So he benches 450, squats 650 at that size. Durable, played in 50 games over 4 years at Iowa State. To me, projects as like a rock-solid run defender and just like an anchor in the middle of your defense as like kind of that nose tackle. Now, I know we signed Kairos Tonga, and I think there's some discourse out there that we don't necessarily need your classic nose tackle kind of guy anymore because we have Tonga. My counterpoint would be that we need depth, and we need as many bodies at that position and players who are ascending and can grow into playmakers for us at that position. Because, again, look at the last couple of years, particularly last year when Omar Norman-Lott got hurt. Just not a lot of depth at that position. Have to go out and bring Mike Pennell back. But I would love to develop some young players at that spot. So 17 games in, we're not talking about how we've lost a whole bunch of players and we're just not nearly as effective there. I think Dominique Orange is a fun player who maybe isn't going to be a big sack guy, but could be a really solid player in the middle of your defense for years to come.
Yeah, you need at least 3 in a rotation, hopefully 4 in those inside tech guys, usually 4. And mine is Lee Hunter of Texas Tech.
Good
okay,
one.
He might be the most underrated Texas Tech front guy. We know about David Bailey. When you look at Romello Height, too, I remember when I talked to Pat, I go, how many defense guys you have on that line? He goes, like the best one.
Who would have thought 20 years ago Texas Tech would have all these great defensive players?
Well, I think you can thank Pat for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Lee Hunter, when you look at what he's done, and a little bit similar to the engine that Zion Young's got, but Lee Hunter has been highly productive. 69 tackles in 2023. That led all FBS interior defensive linemen. He also has the chance, 31 tackles for losses the last 2 years. So how much did Bailey and did Height get helped because Lee Hunter was not able to be blocked? And people go, well, he's not a scheme fit. He's a 0 tech, and he plays a 3-4. So no. This guy can play. He'll be a 1 tech penetrator that does not forfeit his 2-gap responsibility. We got to get you. We got a little time action here, so we're going to get out this one. I'm going to give you a high honorable mention one.
Okay, let's hear it.
Tight end Eli Stowers of Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Okay, I love that guy. I'm just going to say it. I do.
You saying you're loving him?
Have you seen?
And the Chargers take him. You're still going to love him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. He had like a 45-inch vertical.
He's crazy.
He had over 10-foot broad jump.
Yes. I really like Eli Stowers. He was a 4-star quarterback prospect. He comes out as a quarterback prospect. He kind of bounces around. He goes to New Mexico State and gets beat out at quarterback by Diego Pavia, who beat him out. So now he moves to tight end, and he becomes this. So think about Dalton Kincaid, right? You go down, Dalton Schultz. These move tight ends. And I just think a great compliment to Kels could eventually, I don't know, Eli Stowers.
I'm with you on that.
Really like him.
He reminds me of, for you Royals fans listening, it's like Lucas Erceg. He was like a position player in the minors, and they're like, hey, why don't you try pitching? He throws like a 98-mile-per-hour fastball.
Closer.
Like, oh, this is easy. Same thing for Stowers. Like, hey, why don't you try tight end? Wins the John Mackey Award as the top tight end in all of college football. Some people are just good at everything, and Eli Stowers fits that category.
You don't think he'd be productive as a Chief?
He'd be awesome as a Chief.
Yeah,
you have me worried about the Chargers now, though.
Yeah. Or the other 30 teams.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where we're at. That's our pre-draft analysis. But know this, we're going to have all kinds of draft coverage, including we'll be at Power and Light on Thursday night getting ready for what is a very, very, very important 26th draft. Just know this, from Matt and me, really like these guys. But stop from saying you love them until they're wearing red, white, and gold.